Hi, welcome back to my barbecue. How have you been? I've missed you, like literally, I've missed you so much. It's crazy how much I've missed you. Did you miss me? Probably. I mean, I don't blame you. Today, I'm a little bit tipsy. Just a tiny little bit. I already had one can of Berry Blast, and now I'm on my second. And we're gonna talk about the worst books of 2023. I'm literally ready to have like a little roast, to like a little barbecue, a little bonfire moment, if you will. And if you would oblige, Tiffany, I'd love it if you joined me in destroying, eviscerating, reading these books. I don't mean like read. I mean like read. I have 8 books to talk to you about. 8-ish. We'll see. There's one book where I'm like, do I want to talk about it? I don't know. I look forward to this video. I think a lot of people look forward to this video. I don't want to be like that kind of girl. I don't want to bring down the mood. But disclaimer, if you're like easily offended, if you're like other people's opinions about books affects me in a great deal, other people's opinions about books ruins my day, maybe switch off, baby. Maybe close this video, open a happy one where people don't talk about books that they don't like. Why would you come onto a video to get triggered? I don't know. Either way, if you don't like what I'm saying, just know that I don't fucking care. Just know that I literally could give less of a fuck. I couldn't give less of a fuck, really. The fucks that I have, I can't give anymore. I can't, Tiffany. Maybe not Tiffany. I don't know. I feel like Tiffany isn't the kind of girly to get mad about this type of thing. But if you are, exit out, girl. Go watch Blue's Clues or something like that. Like, get out of here. Listen. Last year, I was like, 2023, Jordan Lane's like, I feel like I wasn't really serving that this year. I don't know. Maybe I was. You tell me, was I serving? Because I feel like I wasn't at all. But I feel as though 2024 is the year where I'm going to serve. Bro, this is about to disappear like immediately. Maybe I'll serve once a year in these videos. Maybe that's what I'll do. Because I feel like I'm also not the kind of girl to just be for no reason, you know? Like generally, I'm a really nice person. I think. I hope. But this video is not one of those times. I'm not gonna be nice, Tiffany. I don't want to be nice. I don't want to be nice. That's the thing. Most of the time, yes, I want to be as kind as possible. Kinda. But this video, no. This video, I have grudges. I have bills to pay. Some people I owe, and I really got to pay them back. Some authors, some books I read this year, they really were just like IOUs. And this is my redemption. This is my chance to finally just like cut off that debt and just say like, this is what I owe you. You're welcome. Should we get started? Don't forget also, Tiffany, to hit subscribe to my YouTube channel. This little page that you're on, hit subscribe. We have all kinds of fun over here. We talk about horror. We talk about thrillers. We talk about romance. We talk about all kinds of stuff. Sometimes it's a bit unhinged. I'm not even gonna lie to you, Tiffany. Sometimes it's a bit weird, but it's fun. So if you're interested, please hit subscribe. Secondly, don't forget to check out my Patreon. And thirdly, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. I would like to begin, first of all, with a book that I didn't finish reading, Tiffany. I started reading it, and I planned on having this like huge, like, oh my god, it's like a surprise reading. Like nobody knew. It was like a big surprise, and everyone was like, oh my god, yes, we love that. Like that's what was happening in my head. I was like, I'm not gonna tell anyone that I'm reading these things. I'm just gonna post it out of nowhere, and everyone's gonna be like shocked and like, kill surprise. It didn't work out, Tiffany, because I ended up absolutely hating it. I told my patrons about it and they were like, that was a bad idea. Like obviously that was gonna be awful. And I was like, you're right, it was an awful idea. I got 3/4 of the way through Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. I've read Verity and I feel like I got through Verity because I was kind of expecting something. Do you know what I mean? Ugly Love, I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what the fuck I got. I had a plan to do like an entire like I read Colleen Hoover books for an entire month kind of reading vlog. I literally bought secondhand. I didn't support Colleen Hoover because I know that she's literally awful. She doesn't need my help. She's literally a billionaire probably, but whatever. I bought them secondhand off of like Facebook Marketplace. I paid $25 for 4 of her books. I got 3/4 of the way through one. And it literally like put me in the biggest reading slump. I think it actually, honestly, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. I think it literally made my depression worse. I think it literally made my mental illness like worse than it already is. After that, I have just been like comatose, basically. I have been like a shell of who I was. I know what you're thinking, Tiffany. Wow, this is like really dramatic. I'm not even being dramatic. First of all, Ugly Love, from what I know, is about, and again, I got 3/4 of the way through. What's also weird is I literally can't remember like most of what happened. Like I remember bits and pieces, so I'm gonna try to tell you. Spoiler alert also for Ugly Love, I guess. I think I'm probably gonna spoil some of it, but Ugly Love is about this girl. She is like going to move in with her brother. She can't get in, the door is locked. Also, there's this like really hot guy outside of the door, just like drunk and like passed out or whatever. Maybe he's not passed out, but he's like really drunk. And she's like, this is so annoying. I just got off like a 12-hour flight. I just want to go into your fucking apartment and sleep, my guy. And so blah, 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 you know, miscommunication, blah, blah, blah. She finds out that this dude is her brother's friend and he's like a neighbor in the building. First of all, first impression, she's like, this guy's awful. I hate him. He's like literally disgusting. Second time she meets him, he's the most beautiful person who's ever fucking existed. Second time she meets him, she's like literally in love with him. Like, this book, we're going between like her perspective in the present, his perspective in the past. And bro, when I tell you that when we switched it over to the past, I was flabbergasted because this man was like literally a fucking stalker. Like this man was so creepy. He's like in high school or college or something like that. And he's like waxing poetic about this girl named like Jessica or Sarah or Tiffany. I don't fucking know. Let's call her Tiffany. He's waxing poetic about Tiffany, right? And he's like, Tiffany is just the most beautiful girl I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've only spoken to her 3 times exactly, and we've only exchanged 6 words in English and 2 words in Spanish, but I know that we're meant to be together. I was reading it and I was like, this is literally a joke. This is a horror novel, because he's talking about how he's like watching her or whatever. It was just creepy. And in my head, I was like, Colleen Hoover is trying to make this creepy, right? Like this is purposely creepy. It literally wasn't. It wasn't, Tiffany. It wasn't. But it was supposed to be fucking romantic. And this man was like literally like stalking this Tiffany bitch. And we're meant to be like, oh my God, he's so romantic. And then Tiffany, and then, okay, the kicker, and I think this is why it's called Ugly Love. Maybe, I don't know. He's in love with Tiffany. A miracle happens and Tiffany's in love with him. And then, and then they find out that they're fucking step siblings. Her dad or her mom is marrying his dad, and so they're like literally living in the same house. The mom and the dad are like, oh my God, you guys are such brother and sister vibes. Like it's crazy how it seems like you guys are actually like related. Meanwhile, fucking 3 a.m. at night, but when everyone's sleeping, they're playing 2-player Jumanji, okay? But in the future, in the present time, with our main character, whose name I forget, let's call her like Colby or something. Isn't that a boy's name? I don't know. She's falling in love with this guy named Brad or whatever. I forget his name. Let's call him Brad. She's like in love with Brad. Okay, she's like, Brad is literally everything I've ever wanted and more. I like love his face and I love how smart he is and blah, blah, blah. She's becoming who he was like 7 years ago when he was like obsessed with Tiffany. And Tiffany's no longer in the picture. We don't know why, but she's not. I know this is like the longest thing. I just need you to understand how ridiculous this book was and how much I literally wanted to kill myself while reading it. And like, this is the thing too, Tiffany. I didn't even read it for that long. It was like a one sitting thing. I was doing my makeup, listening to the audiobook. It was like 2 hours of my life, and it literally worsened my mental state and it put me in a reading slump. I haven't read anything since that book. So she's like obsessed with him. And like what really annoyed me, and like I've been this kind of girl, so like I get it, but it just like annoyed me because like nobody wants to be like reminded of like the worst versions of themselves. She was like, I want to fuck Brad. Brad was like, I want to fuck you too. And so they were like, chill, cool. But Brad was like, I have no intention of ever being with you romantically though. We can have like a physical relationship. We can like be fuck buddies, whatever. But I'm never going to fall in love with you. Just so you know. What's more likely is the apocalypse. The apocalypse would happen before I ever fucking loved you, Tiffany. No. Colby. Knowing that she literally has fucking feelings for this grown-ass, disgusting man, tells him that's fine. I don't like you. I'll never like you. Don't worry about it. I know that we've all been there. I've been there at least. God, I've been there. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's awful. Who wants to read a book like that? Huh? Who? Not me. Not me. So when she was like, oh my God, I'm literally in love with him. And he was like, okay, we just fucked so you can get out now. And she would be like, oh my God, I'm so upset. What do you mean? He literally outlined the relationship. You're the dumbass. Oh my God. I can't. It literally infuriated me, grossed me out. It was weird and creepy. I hated it. Colleen Hoover. Stop. What do we have to pay Colleen Hoover to get her to stop? That's like kind of what I think about, is like, what do we do to prevent her from perpetuating these books? I don't want to sit here and be like, women's fiction is bad. It's not. Women's fiction is amazing. Colleen Hoover, though? Colleen Hoover? She sucks. I was going to say bags of dicks, but that seems kind of like mean. But she kind of does. I don't know. So that's the first book. Let me know down below if you want to see the Colleen Hoover reading vlog. Maybe I'll still do it. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, listen, I barely already have a will to live. Why not just like add a little bit to it? Do you know what I mean? Like, why not just like put like a little bit on it? Give it like a little bit of spice, you know? Plus I feel like, and this is part of the reason why I wanted to do the Colleen Hoover, oh my God, my words are slurring. This is kind of why I wanted to do the Colleen Hoover reading vlog, is because I know that you, Tiffany, love to see me suffer. You love to see me in pain. I know that you love it when I'm unhappy. And I love that for you, because at least you know what you want. So that's why I did it. But then it literally just like ruined everything. Let's go back in time, because this was quite recently. Let's go back to like March or something. Let's talk about episode 13 by Craig DeLuey. And listen, I never in my life thought that I would ever have a Craig DeLuey on one of these lists. But you know, things happen. Miracles happen. Episode 13 is when you go to like a hairdresser and you're explaining exactly what you want. You're like, this is what I want. These are like reference photos. You're like giving like front, back, side details. You're saying cut, color, wash, style, you know, floatiness. That's not a thing. Halfway through, you're facing that mirror and you're like, this is going amazing. This is great. I love the way that this is going. They turn you around. They turn you back around. Everything is awful. You look like shit. That's what episode 13 is. Craig DeLuey is like, hey, this is like a really cool premise. This is great. What do you think? And everyone is like, oh my God, Craig, you have outdone yourself. This is amazing. And then you get to about halfway through the book. It's not good. Craig, I'm gonna be honest with you, Craig, it's not good. I loved Stuff for the Children, Craig. I love that book. But this was trash. What really got me also was the fact that he had us in the first half. We were there. I was. The first half of the book, I was living, laughing, loving, crying, throwing up, partying, becoming diabetic. It was crazy. And then it was like he took a shit on his own book. It was like he gave up. It was like he thought, you know what, this is going too well. Let me ruin it instead. It's about these like paranormal research. They have this show, right? And episode 13 of their show, they're going to this like really famous haunted house or whatever. And they get there and it's like crazy, whatever. It was just bad. And not only that, but like confusing. Like it kind of reminded me a bit of like House of Leaves. Excuse me. But like not in a good way. It was like House of Leaves for poor people at the end. Was the beginning of the book predictable? Sure. But what's wrong with that? I kind of like that more than what he gave us, which was basically just like weird, meta, confusing, pretentious. Pretentious is the word, which is crazy because House of Leaves is so pretentious. Yeah, I don't like it. Craig, never do that again. It wasn't good. What's crazy, Tiffany, is the fact that I gave this next book, I think like 4 stars. I know, it's crazy. But thinking about it, like literally living with this thing in my little fucking bird brain is crazy. The more I think about it, the more I'm literally furious. I'm talking about Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. Listen, if you know, you know. 2022, I think, I was obsessed with Ninth House. There are parts of my heart that have been replaced and just like injected with Ninth House, okay? Like it's literally up here all the time. So when Hellbent came out, I was so excited. I was ready, because you also may know that I'm a firm believer and shipper of Alex and Pam. Because if Alex Dawes is not a lesbian, she is at least bisexual. Canonically, she has to be. You don't talk about your girlfriends that way. And what I'm talking about is the way that Alex talks about Helly in the first book. It was giving gay. And listen, as a queer person, I pick up on that shit. I'm like a hound dog, just, you know, like crazy. And I picked up on it. I sniffed it, Leia. For some reason, I wanted to call her a dumb bitch. I'm not gonna call her a dumb bitch. She's a little bit, because she like literally refuses to give us what we want. And by we, I mean me. Hellbent was literally the opposite of everything I've ever wanted. Hellbent just confirmed for me the absolute lengths that people will go to have heterosexuality. I think I literally ranted about this like 12 months ago. I'm gonna rant about it again because I'm still mad. Leia, if you're watching this, I'm still fucking mad, and literally fuck you. Literally fuck you for everything. Like, I'm literally gonna sue you for emotional damages because I'm not okay. Anyway, how are you gonna tell me that Alex Stern is in love with Darlington? This random dude that she knew for like 2 months, to like literally not even that long, and not with the girl that she has like insane chemistry with. Reading Hellbent, I was like, there is no way that Alex and Dawes are in love. Like, there's no way. And like, maybe I'm delusional, but I really don't think I am. Because if you read Dawes and Alex's little banter moments, it's just so fucking cute. They have so much chemistry. There's so much sexual tension, okay? And then when you read about her and fucking Darlington, it's like, yes, girl, give us nothing. Not only that, but like, again, the emotional damage of this book. Not even just the fact that she's like doing like a comp het thing with Alex, but also with the fact that she had certain things about Darlington in the book that don't make any sense, that were literally traumatizing, and also like unnecessary. Okay, Leia? I'm sure many people have told you this, and maybe they haven't because they're trying to be fucking nice. I'm not trying to be fucking nice to you. I'm trying to tell you that like literally you putting in a little part about Darlington being rock hard. You heard me right, rock hard and glowing down there. Leia, I don't know what kind of freaky deaky icky licky shit you're into. It's not for me though. I'm not into that same type of shit. So if you could just like not include them in your book. It's so weird. It was so weird. And then also the characters are just like, okay, so you're everyone's seeing it, right? Everyone's just meant to be like, yeah, it's chill, everything's fine, when literally this guy has a glowing erection. Get the fuck out of here. And listen, I'm not trying to like kink shame anyone. Be kinky, be weird, be freaky deaky. I'm not trying to be freaky deaky. Not like that. So no, please, I swear to God, if the next book, which I don't know if I'm gonna read, I hope I don't, but who knows, if I do read the next book, I want it to be from like a Puritan's perspective, okay? I want it to be like a God-fearing Christian woman type of fucking book, because if the opposite is Darlington with his dick rod straight up and glowing like a fucking nightlight, I literally hate it here. I hate it here. Okay, anyway. Also, can I just say, it was giving Sarah J. Maas. I don't think Sarah J. Maas's books are that bad, but can we just have something original? Can we just have something that's like not like catering to the masses is what I mean. Like every girly loves Sarah J. Maas, jerking off to Sarah J. Maas, whatever, it's fine, whatever. But the fact that Leigh Bardugo had this thing at the end where it was kind of like, it was giving very much like Avengers Assemble kind of vibes, and I hated that. Because like the first book is this like gritty noir, like dark academia thing. The end of the second book is giving like, oh my God, phased and magical beings. Whoa. Fuck out of here. Get the fuck out. Let's talk about What Lies in the Woods by Kate Ellis Marshall. I literally forgot what her name was. I read this book for Gabby's book club, I think like earlier on in the year. I think it was maybe like April, May, I can't remember. I hated it. Listen, Tiffany, I have a bad memory. I think it kind of comes with like the depression or whatever, but I have a bad memory. When I try to think about what I hated about this book, there's not really one thing where I'm like, oh my God, that was it and that was it. What I do think I really disliked, besides the fact that it was literally like every other thriller novel that ever existed ever, the love interest was just the most annoying thing. I've said this about horror. I'll say it about fucking thrillers. I don't want a romance in my thriller. I have no interest in a thrilling thriller to have love interest. Nobody is asking for that. And if they are, they're fucking weird. Dude, I am slamming this. Like, there was like one part that just like sticks out in my mind anytime I think about this book, where our main character, I think she's like a black guy or something like that. This dude shows up and he's like, I bought you concealer in donation. And he starts literally like painting. He starts fucking painting her fucking face, Tiffany. Painting her face. This cis-het white dude. Listen, I'm not saying that cis-het dudes can't put on makeup. The absolute gall and the gumption for this dude to be like, you don't know what you're doing. Let me do this for you. And he starts like, literally like, He's like, yes, honey, work. He's doing her makeup. He like puts on like concealer and he's like, yeah, you have to like color correct. And also the fact that the author was like, this is what people want. This is what women want. If I ever woke up from a nap and some dude that I was like romantically interested in was like, I got you makeup and I'm gonna do it for you, I would be like, get the fuck away from me. I don't trust you. Your hands are probably fucking dirty and you probably don't know what the fuck you're doing. The ending of the book and the fact that it was like based on or related to the Slender Man murder. Although actually, I don't think she died, so I don't think it was a murder, but the Slender Man case, the whole book is like based on it. That was my face when I figured it out. I think what annoys me the most is that there are so many books like this. It's just giving so little. Do you know what I mean, Tiffany? Where you're like, okay, cool. I see what you did there. There's like 20 people behind you who've also done it. So it's all the same. Like you could literally pick up any thriller novel and you would have read that book. You did read it probably. Without even knowing it, you've read that book. Like I'm telling you, it's just so absurdly unspecial. I don't want to be mean. My tongue is blue. I don't want to be mean, but it's so bland. It's so contrived. It's so repetitive to literally every other kind of novel of its kind. Honestly, I feel like that's like one of the last thriller novels I read in 2013. In 2023, it was just so blatantly unimpressive, so blatantly called in. That's what it felt like. It felt called in. It felt like the author was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this for like a little cash grab moment. That's gonna be it. And like, I get why people would like it, but I did not. I have another Berry Blast. I honestly didn't expect to drink 3 of these, and I'm glad I bought a third one, because originally I only bought 2, but then today I was like, what if I need a third one? So I went to the liquor store, I bought another one just in case. I'm glad I did, because I really needed it. I didn't expect to drink that one so quickly, but it was just really good. I was just like getting in the vibe, you know? I was just like getting in the mood. Also, these are really good. At the beginning of the video, I was like, I'm tipsy. I think I'm now actually tipsy. Anyway, What Lies in the Woods? I wish every copy of this book lied in the woods, in a little pit called a fire pit, so we could burn them. Jesus Christ, that's so fucked up. I don't mean that. Or do I? No, it doesn't. Bro, okay. I'm glad I have another drink for this, because I think this might be like my least favorite book of the year, and which is crazy to say. I was just talking about Colleen Hoover, but I think this was worse somehow. I'm talking about Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. Who gives a flying fuck? The fact that literally when this book came out, everyone was like, is crazy. And I was interested. I was like, ooh, what's all this fussabaloo about, you know? I never got around to it until I did my Books You Think I'll Hate video, which I will link down below in case you want to watch it. Plug. Excuse me. I saw a few people before reading it say like, oh, it's transphobic, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, ew, that's like literally disgusting. Fuck you, Jason. But I was like, I don't know. I'll have to read it to like gauge for myself. The transphobia really like comes in at the end. The transphobia, it's like the plot twist. It's not the friends we made along the way, it's the plot twist at the end of the book. The transphobia is the plot twist. It's transphobic as fuck. Genuinely don't even know what the fuck they were thinking when they published this book. I can't remember who published it. Whoever is working there, maybe they're good friends with J.K. Rowling. Maybe they're close with a few like conservative political parties. I feel like I would question it, honestly. Who accepted this manuscript? Who spent all that time editing it? Who spent all that time doing all that work on it? Going back and forth with the author, and never addressed the absolute fuckery that happened at the end of the book. Not only that, but just like throughout the entire book, honestly. The entire thing is just like riddled with like racism, ableism, and fat phobia. I feel like book publishing is one of those like liberal type of places. That's like a very like left-leaning profession, I feel. Because I feel like smart people read books. What? I meant to say liberal people read books. Jason has like this obsession with I don't know, like God or whatever. And like, listen, some people are like religious, like whatever. I don't really give a flying fuck. If you want to like worship God, if you want to like be a fucking Christian or Catholic or whatever, I don't really give a flying fuck. It's your life. Why would I care? It's like a different thing when you're reading a book and it's so obvious that the author is trying to like say something to you about religion. And that's what kept happening with Jason and I. Jason would be like, Jesus is the best. Do you agree? And I'd be like, no. Jason, no, I'm not really fucking with Jesus right now. Like, fuck off. The parents in the book. Also, I'm not giving synopsises for any of these books. I should have said that like ages ago. I didn't. I'm just telling you right now, I'm not giving you a synopsis. Why the fuck would I? Like, these books are trash. You don't need to know what they're about. The parents were like, we're atheists. We don't believe in God or whatever. And then like the main character was like, but you have a child. It was just very obvious that the main character of this book was just like a stand-in for Jason. Oh, Jason. Also, what an awful name. I hate that name. Sorry if your name is Jason, but like, I hate that name. Not only was it like, atheism is bad, and if you don't believe in God, you're dumb or whatever. Like, it was very like aggressive. I feel like there was like, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I feel like there were like Mexican stereotypes or something like that in it. I can't remember. It was so racist. And then the part that really like got me was like the fat phobia. And like, that's the thing too. I was reading it and there were like these little things just like here and there. And I think I said this in the review, but it was kind of like needling. Jason, this entire book is just needling you. While I was reading it, I was like, it's in my head. It's not that serious. Jason would never do this to me. Jason would never. Jason definitely would. Jason definitely would. And he did. He literally did. Jason would have all these like really fatphobic sentiments in the book. And then at the end of the book, the main character was like, I used to do heroin and I didn't accept help from my mom because she was fat. She wouldn't talk to her mom because she was fat. She was like, I was a drug addict and doing heroin and meth, living in a halfway house, and I didn't want my mom's money or help because she's a fat bitch. Jason, it makes no sense. Your book is awful. Your book is awful. It's literally so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I can't even imagine how embarrassing it is for the people who like publish it. Like, I can't imagine being like the head editor for this book. I think I would die of embarrassment. His book was just like literally just bigotry, like pretenced through fiction. So it wasn't like super obvious. It was still pretty obvious, Jason. For a bigot, you're not very smart. Maybe for your next book, just be more subtle with your hate crimes. What if you did that? What if instead of just being blatantly transphobic, racist, ableist, and fatphobic, you were just like more subtle about it, so people didn't like notice as much? Because this time, Jason, everyone noticed. Most people noticed. Most people hate it, don't like it. It's not good. Or Jason, what you could do is just like not write books. Maybe you and Colleen could just like waddle off into the sunset together. What do you think of that? I think that's iconic. Okay, The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I read this for my Patreon. I actually have a reading vlog for it on my Patreon. If you're interested in seeing it, you can click the link down below. I'm so out of breath. I've just been talking so much, and then like in between talking, I'm taking sips of my drink, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. I don't know why I even put this on my Patreon like book club poll, because I'll put up polls of books, you know, to choose from for a month and let my patrons choose, and they chose this book. And I don't even know why I made it an option, knowing that I was gonna absolutely hate it. I have not liked a single Riley Sager book I've ever read. And like, I know that a lot of girlies are like obsessed. They live, laugh, love Riley Sager. And I don't really hate them for that, because like sometimes people like bad things. His books are just the absolute epitome of mediocrity. And I don't want to be a hater. That's literally a lie. I do want to be a hater. I like being a hater. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't tried being a hater, just give it a little go. The Only One Left, I thought was just like wild and like weird, because like basically it's this girl, she was accused of like contributing to her mother's death. She's like a care nurse, right? So she was taking care of her mom, and her mom like got the pills and just swallowed a shit ton of them or whatever, and she died from like an overdose. Her board was like, okay, that's like not okay. That's definitely not okay. That's your mom, first of all, and then also why was she able to get those pills? Like, that's crazy. And so she's like, I'm innocent, whatever, right? She gets a job a few months later, even though her reputation is like gone. It's just nobody wants to hire her because they think that she's gonna like try to like murder fucking people with pills. And so she gets a job at this like old bitch's house. But she was accused of murdering her entire family like 40 years ago. She's like paralyzed or whatever. And what's crazy to me, I was reading it and the main character was so fucking weird and just doing things that would just like take me out of the story completely, because I was like, no one is going to do that. Let's call the old woman Gladys. So our main character, Stephanie, let's call her. Stephanie would be like bathing Gladys. She'd be giving her like a little sponge bath moment. And then Stephanie would be like, hey Gladys, you killed them, didn't you? Stephanie, what the fuck? Literally, it would just like pull me, yank me out of the story completely. I would be like, who the fuck says that? She was working there for like a day and a half. It was literally like 34 hours. And this bitch, fresh on the job, is like, you killed those people, didn't you? What the fuck? Listen, I get it. It's for the book, it's for the plot, it's for the mystery or whatever. Be smart about it. Be smart about it. What kind of human being, what kind of like woman with any emotional intelligence is going to go up to what is basically a stranger and ask them if they murdered their entire family? That's crazy, Riley. Riley, that's crazy. No one is going to do that. Did I think this book was like god awful? Kind of, actually. Kind of. But it wasn't like god awful. Like it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't good. And like what gets me is like, I don't even like remember the ending, but I remember hating it. Do you ever have that where you've read a book and like, let's say months have passed? I think it's been like 3 or 4 months since I read this book. Months will have passed and you'll be like, I don't remember what happened, but I do remember not liking it. Like that's how I feel about this book. I don't remember like the intricate details or whatever, but I remember just being like, this is fucking awful. How dare you waste my time with it? Anyway, like I said, if you want to see the reading vlog that I did for it, it's on Patreon. Go check it out. There's a whole bunch of reading vlogs on Patreon, just so you know also. Anyway, let's talk about The Creeper by A.M. Shine. You may know that 2023, my favorite book of the year was The Watchers. Loved that book. Loved it. And when I saw that The Creeper was out, I was like, God bless. I'm gonna read that and love that too. Spoiler alert, Tiffany. I did not like it. I did not love it. Now, I don't have like any like huge grudges with this book, but it wasn't good. I'm literally trying so hard not to like appear drunk, even though like literally that's probably what you're seeing. Like I'm like in my head, I'm like, you're literally killing this. In my head, I'm like, you seem so sober. In my head, I'm like, you are literally fooling everyone. But then there's this other part of my head, or other voice in my head that's like, they all know. So I'm trying very hard to just like be sober, be professional. In The Watchers, we have like a female main character. It really fits the story in just so many different contexts. The Creeper is about this dude and he's just awful. And like, that's fine, like whatever. But the fact also that there is another character who's like a secondary to like main character, who is a girl, a woman, and the fact that in the entire book she's just sexualized to fucking filth. I don't think the author was like, yeah, I'm gonna sexualize this bitch, because it's the main character, Thomas, whatever. It's his perspective that we're going through. So we're seeing him be like, oh my god, yeah, her perky tits and her butt and her big wavy blonde hair, blah 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 blah. It's insufferable, right? So I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Honestly, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, because who wants to read that kind of book? Maybe men? I don't know. Like the plot itself was like not interesting. Like reading it, I just kept waiting to get invested. So that's how I felt about The Watchers. As I was reading The Watchers, I was like, I can't put this down. I literally need to know what the fuck's gonna happen. This book, I was like, I can't wait to put this down. I can't wait to not be reading this. Honestly, can I be honest with you? Can I be vulnerable with you, Tiffany? I didn't even finish the book. I got literally like 85% of the way through and I didn't finish it. Because I literally didn't give a flying fuck. I didn't fucking care. Like, also, can I just say, the characters were going through this horrifying thing and like their lives are on the line, whatever. And I was like, who actually gives a flying fuck? Let me know down below if you've read it, what you thought of it, if you also didn't like it. The last book that I want to talk to you about, Tiffany, is Nod by Adrian Kepps. R.I.P. though to him. I do think he actually passed away. I added this book not because I absolutely hated it, just because I DNF'd it, because it was just just not for me. Well, then why is it on your worst stuff? That's a good question. I love that you're asking that question, and I love that you're curious about it, because I am too. I don't know why I put this on my list, but I'm gonna talk about it, because why the fuck not, you know? Nod, I think it's an extreme horror novel about a world where all of a sudden people can't sleep, but our main character still can sleep. He can still sleep. Everyone else, most people can't. I think the issue I had with this book, why I didn't like it, why I didn't like connect to it, was because it was written for men. Also, I could also add they all died screaming to this little part as well, because that was also a book I could not finish. It just seemed like it was written for men. It just had this like viewpoint, this voice. And I don't know if you know what I mean, but if you've read extreme horror, you know what I'm talking about. It's that like specific vibe, voice, feeling of an extreme horror novel where it's just so obviously and blatantly geared towards men. Like for me, I can't read it. I read it and I literally feel grimy. I don't know why. Is that rude to say? Probably, but I feel grimy. I feel like dirty. And like, I don't know what the fuck these dudes are doing. Like, can we just stop writing extreme horror and like having it be, I don't want to say gross, because it should be gross. It's extreme horror. What I mean though is like, it has like a certain like violative, but that's not the right word. It has like a certain feeling to it. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but if you know, you know. Do you know what I mean? I want to read more extreme horror. It's more similar to things like True Crime by Samantha Kolesnik, or like anything by Jack Ketchum. They have a soul. That's what it is. It's a presence of humanity. It's a presence of like soulfulness. You could write about the most horrific shit, but you could still give breadth to hope. And I think that's what these books lack. The idea, the concept, the feeling of hopefulness. Maybe I'm just fucking drunk. Who knows? Tiffany, I'm crazy. Tiffany, thank you so much for being here. For, I don't know, just being like really cool. Let me know down below if you've read any of the books I talked about. If you hated them just as much as I fucking did. If you're offended. If you're not offended, let me know. I feel like I wasn't that mean, honestly. I feel like last year I was way more mean. Honestly, because most of these books I don't really hate. Last year I feel like I just had books after book after book where I was like, this needs to be like literally not available to anybody. This needs to be burned forever. But I feel like this year I was very chill. The only book I really feel like is actually just like harmful is Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulak. I would gladly just have all of those books burned. Just have them not available to anyone. Like, Jason doesn't deserve it, honestly. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to hit subscribe, because we talk about spooky shit. We talk about creepy shit. We talk about episode 13 and dating your stepbrother and shit. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a wonderful day. I will see you in my next one. It was so much fun. I hope you're doing well. You're literally gorgeous, by the way. Oh my God, you're literally fucking stunning. And I swear to God, if you don't think you are, first of all, who's telling you this? Because they need to be fucking slapped into next year, 2025. And also, Happy New Year. And you're literally gorgeous. The fuck you mean? You're stupid if you don't see that you're literally stunning. You're like, even if you're the worst, you're still beautiful. What am I talking about? Okay, bye. See you later. Goodbye. Bye.